Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Cinema Tales. Today we are back with a classic movie which was released back in 2003. This is the story of a boy who goes from America to Paris for studies. There he meets twin brother and sister with strange relationship. What happens when he moves in? Watch the full episode to know. The movie starts and our main character Matthew is introduced. It is Matthew who is telling us all these stories. To complete his education, Matthew leaves America and comes directly to Paris. Matthew likes movies very much. He has seen a lot of movies, and he knows everything about them. He meets Isabel and Theo, who are twin brother and sister. There is restriction to screen the movie. That's why everyone is sitting outside and performing. Matthew also comes to this place and finds Isabel near the gate. Isabel starts talking to him. She says that she always sees him around, but he is always alone. Matthew also tells her that he has come from America, so he has no friends. Isabel also introduces him to her brother Theo. They talk about movies and they have a good bond. After a while, the police arrive there, leading everyone to run away. They talk about different things until late at night. Matthew feels that he is very fortunate that he has made two good friends. When Matthew reaches home, he writes a letter to his mother. He is very happy that he has made friends. When he wakes up in the morning, he gets a call from Theo. Theo invites him home for dinner tonight. Matthew reaches their house in the evening and finds their house very big and lavish. Isabel then takes her mother to meet Matthew. The mother did not expect that Matthew would come for dinner, but still she adjusts. Isabel asks her to talk to her father and make a good impression on him. Isabel's father is a poet, and at the dinner table he talks about how inspiration comes in poetry. But Matthew does not pay any attention to this. He gets irritated and asks, "What were you thinking?" Matthew does not say anything, but they force him. He says, "I was looking at this lighter. In this way there is a very good symmetry between this lighter and everything around us. Just as well-composed music plays, there is a good harmony in it beautifully." When the father hears all this, he becomes impressed. He says to Theo, "Even in your generation, such constructive things can be seen." Theo's political opinions are very strong, and he always finds fault in everything. That's why the father taunts him, leading to a small altercation between them. Actually, Isabel's father and mother do not live here, but they visit the house to meet them often. Theo and Isabel live alone in this house. That night, the father writes them a check and leaves. Even after the departure of the father and mother, Matthew stays. Isabel gives him a candy, asking him, "Are you going to stay here?" And he decides to. During a conversation between Theo and Matthew, we learn that there's always a conflict between them. However, conflict doesn't mean they can't be good friends. They share a lot in common. That night, Matthew stays over. When he goes to the toilet, he glances into Theo's room and sees Theo and Isabella sleeping together without wearing anything, finding it very strange. Matthew goes back to sleep. In the morning, Isabella opens Matthew's eyelids with her hands. Surprised, Matthew asks, "Who does that?" Isabella replies, "I always wake up Theo like this." Matthew finds it very strange. Later, Isabella calls Matthew to the bathroom. While Matthew is brushing his teeth, she approaches him, looks at his lips and says, "They are very beautiful." Here, Theo tells Matthew that since he lives alone, he can come and live with them so they can be good friends. Matthew asks if they have any problem with this arrangement, to which Isabella responds, "It was actually my idea." Theo and Isabella consider each other as integral parts of themselves. They don't feel ashamed of each other because they were born attached to each other's bodies. Contrary to Matthew's thoughts, there is no physical relationship between Theo and Isabella. They don't consider each other separately in their minds. Matthew agrees to live with them and shifts in. One day, while hanging out, they play a game where they guess movie dialogues and names. If nobody guesses, they make a deal. They decide to recreate a scene from an old movie where characters run out of an art museum. They convince Matthew, who's afraid of getting caught. But eventually, they all enjoy their unusual lifestyle. Matthew feels uncomfortable with Theo and Isabella's relationship and doesn't understand what's happening. One day he confronts Theo and asks him how they can live like this. Theo explains their attachment and how they don't think of each other separately. During another hangout, Theo performs a scene from a movie. Matthew and Isabella don't recognize it. So Theo asks them to spend time with each other in front of him. Uncomfortable, Matthew tries to leave, but Theo stops him. Isabella initiates the act and both of them perform well in front of Theo, which is Isabella's first time. As their relationship continues, Matthew asks Isabella why she and Theo are like this. Isabella explains that they have loved each other since childhood. Matthew worries about what would happen if their father found out, to which Isabella responds, "I will kill myself." One day, Theo and Matthew talk, and Matthew acknowledges their closeness. Theo tells Matthew that he likes him but insists he's their friend, not their part. Despite the strangeness, Matthew accepts it. Theo and Isabella lead a very extravagant lifestyle. They indulge in expensive wines and pursue various activities. Consequently, they require a significant amount of money. However, the inheritance left by their father has depleted, leaving them unable to afford even basic necessities. They both work to sustain their household. The dynamic between Matthew and Isabella sparks jealousy in Theo, especially witnessing their relationship. One day while at college, Theo strikes up a conversation with a girl leading to a date. During a gathering where everyone is bathing together, Theo and Matthew engage in conversation. The discussion shifts to the conflict in Vietnam, which Theo vehemently opposes, attributing blame to all Americans. Matthew, however, asserts that they are compelled to participate due to governmental orders, citing the threat of imprisonment for objectors. Consequently, Matthew flees to Paris to pursue his education. The setting is the 1960s, a time characterized by widespread unrest. Matthew expresses his aversion to violence and advocates for peaceful resolution. Although Theo disagrees, Isabella intervenes, questioning Matthew's affection for them and prompting him to prove it. Matthew is at a loss as to how to demonstrate his love, leading Isabella to retrieve a razor with the intention of shaving his hair. This action incites Matthew's anger, leading him to chastise Theo and Isabella for their immature behavior. Matthew subsequently takes Isabella on a formal date, leaving Theo accompanied by another girl at home. Isabella overhears their sounds, causing her distress and jealousy. Later, Theo and Matthew share wine while discussing the ongoing revolution in Paris. Theo is vocal about his opinions, which Matthew questions, urging Theo to take action if he truly believes in his convictions. Isabella interrupts their conversation, leading them to reminisce about their childhood, when they used to sleep in a tent together. As they drift off to sleep, their parents arrive, discovering them in the tent. Despite their disappointment, the father refrains from confronting them directly and leaves a check before departing. Isabella awakens to the realization of her parents' presence and experiences overwhelming guilt. Contemplating her actions, she decides to set fire to the house and end her life. However, as she begins, a stone thrown during the revolution breaks a window, disrupting her plans. The chaos outside prompts Theo to join the protests, advocating for violent resistance against the police. Matthew attempts to dissuade him, to no avail. Isabella follows Theo's lead, while Matthew, unable to participate, flees from the scene. The police respond with force, dispersing the crowd. The movie concludes with the realization that the revolution symbolizes the inner turmoil within the characters. Theo and Isabella's deep bond and jealousy underscore their struggle for acceptance within society. Matthew's departure signifies his inability to reconcile with their tumultuous lives. Please like, comment, and share the episode with your friends. I will see you soon. Take care.